So I'm working to build a new social network which has a ton of potential to be extremely helpful to almost everybody in the entire world until the end of time. And I sincerely hope that you'll be willing to take the time to listen to me explain how it works in this video. Unfortunately, this is also an attempt at fundraising. I've never tried to fundraise anything before, and I know that me sitting here reading a script and explaining the idea isn't the most sophisticated or entertaining pitch in the world, but I really hope that just understanding the expansive utility of this fairly simple social network will be enough to inspire you to share this idea with others and possibly pitch a couple bucks towards its completion. And if you don't want to donate anything, that is completely fine, but you still might want to know about this project because it's something that may very well be of direct benefit to you personally once it's made. Now, what I'm going to say here will be somewhat similar to what I wrote on the Kickstarter page. So if you prefer to learn through reading, you might want to just go read that, but if you prefer to learn through listening, go ahead and keep watching. And if you prefer to learn through doing, then you're going to have to help me get my initial funding off the ground so I can properly pay my developers. So without further ado, I'll jump into the explanation. The social network, as the title of this video suggests, is going to be called BarterEaser. And it's going to be designed to make it as simple and straightforward as possible to directly trade and negotiate your skills and items with the skills and items of other people in your community, while skipping money entirely, therefore keeping the full value of all your trades in your own hands. Here's how it's going to work. To start off, you'll make a profile. You can use your alias or real name, that's up to you. On your profile, you'll be able to create and list any skill you have or any item that you'd be willing to trade with these skills and items of others, alongside an optional barter buck value to help give you a value estimate when you negotiate with others. You can list absolutely any skill that you're willing to trade. You could list babysitting, bike repair, flute lessons, mechanic work, taxi services, air conditioning repair, plumbing services, competitive video gaming lessons, whatever you might want to trade with others. Then you can list any items whatsoever that you might want to trade to create a sort of inventory. You could list spaghetti dinners, pounds of guacamole, refurbished flash drives, raspberry seeds, entire libraries of books or video games, firewood, old tires, literally anything you have that you'd be willing to trade with others. Finally, you'll have the option to create an invisible list of all skills and items that you would like to trade for, which will help to automatically link you with nearby profiles who list those items, so that you don't have to search for them. However, you can also search for any individual item or skill to easily see anybody in your community who is listing those items. From there, you can begin to barter with your neighbors. The act of trading will be a bit of a multi-step process, but it's still quite simple. Before you can message anyone, you will send them a suggested negotiation. If you want, you can simply leave the suggested negotiation blank and hope that they'll negotiate solely via text. But you can also add as many items of your own as you want, as well as many items of theirs as you want to the negotiation before sending it to give them an idea of what you'd like to barter for. Once the suggested negotiation is sent, the person receiving the negotiation will have the option to reject it or to accept it. And if they accept it, then you'll be able to message each other and barter to determine if and what you'd like to specifically trade with one another. Once you've successfully negotiated a mutually beneficial exchange, you will then send or receive a finalized transaction request, which lists all the skills and items that you've agreed to trade with one another. After accepting the finalized transaction, you will gain the opportunity to rate one another on your honesty and the quality of your services. Though you'll probably want to wait until you've each actually exchanged what you negotiated before rating. You can always edit it afterwards, though, if you prefer. And that's the basic gist of the BarterEaser process, in a nutshell. Once you've received a number of positive ratings, you'll be able to build your reputation as an honorable trader in your community, and it'll be easier and easier to find more respectable people to make direct exchanges with, while skipping the middleman of money entirely. It's fairly simple, but if you have a good imagination, you should be able to recognize that this will create extraordinary opportunity for people, since we don't always have enough money to get what we want, but we do always have our own skills and time, and most of us have a lot of used junk that we're not using that we also might be willing to use to negotiate trades with. Now, one final feature which you need to know about, because it's pretty important, is that I will be incorporating a digital e-coin system into the website. This has nothing to do with crypto and is my own thing entirely. Simply put, all users will be able to define their own digital coins and then use them to trade as a promissory value for their own skills and goods in the future. So in addition to having the option to list an arbitrary barter buck value for all your skills and goods on your account, you will also be able to add your own personally defined coin value or values to anything that you want so that you can make exchanges with others in the future. The example that I like to use for this concept is, say you're a blueberry farmer. You can't trade blueberries outside of blueberry season, but if you have a reputation as an honest person, you could create a blueberry coin, which you define as worth, say, half a pound of blueberries, and then trade those with people as a supplemental item in your other transactions, which they could then redeem with you during harvest season. So first you would create and define your coin as an object, and then during a transaction request, you will have the option to create those coins as an item, which will then sit in a sort of wallet section in the other person's profile until they seek to redeem those coins with you through a later transaction request. And people will have to be discerning with this at first because it'll be initially trust-based until people, form more cohesive ratings with one another. But once people establish themselves as honest, it'll be a lot easier to link up with other honest traders in your community. So I hope that made sense. Now, there's a lot of applications for this coin system. A hairstylist could trade haircut coins for future haircuts. A young babysitter could trade coins that are redeemable for watching children for a day. Or you could just list 1,000 items in your inventory, all with your own personal coin value, and encourage people to build up your coins through multiple transactions with you so that they can redeem them for more expensive things in your inventory. And for the initial stage of this website, these coins will only be redeemable directly between their creators and the people they trade with. But eventually I intend to give people the option to have their coins tradable between people on their creators' friends list or possibly beyond that, so that other people's coins can be used in exchange between mutual acquaintances. I'm really excited to make this happen because I really think there's a lot of potential here, and I intend for it to provide a sort of supplemental safety net to the global economic market until the end of time. Anyhow, thank you for taking the time to listen to my project. I sincerely believe that this has the potential to give a lot of people much greater opportunity and access to their own value. And right now I just need a bit more funding to get it off the ground, so I'm hoping to find maybe 1,500 people who'd be willing to pitch $10 to make it happen. And with that, I'll be able to make this functional. I really think and hope that if people understand the potential here, it'll be something that you're willing to help out with. If you'd be willing to share this around and discuss it with people, I can almost guarantee it'll create a much more pleasant and interesting conversation than most of the painful conversations we've had to deal with so far in 2020. So I'm going to go ahead and end on that note, and go ahead and let me know if you have any questions in the comment section, and I will be glad to answer them.